Your fever is high, and the pressure to log in at work is too. But when you finally decide to take care of you, there's Instacart. Just because that one perfect coworker of yours is attending all meetings, camera on while she's sneezing, coughing, and aching, doesn't mean you have to do the same. Take it from us. Trying to stay on top of things will only get you further behind. Instead, get everything from tissues and teas to cough suppressants and comforting soups delivered through Instacart in as fast as 30 minutes. If anyone needs anything, they can just redirect their questions to that one perfect coworker of yours.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
Welcome to the PowerCat Podcast, GoPowerCat.com's Kansas State Athletics Show. Now, here's your host, GoPowerCat publisher, Tim Fitzgerald.
Welcome to another edition of the PowerCat Questions Podcast, and it's a game week one. The summer is officially over. Quit having fun. Get off your vacation. Put away the cooler. Well, you're going to need it for Saturday tailgating. Put away whatever you use, your camping equipment. Don't camp at the stadium unless you've got an RV. Game time, 6 p.m. Saturday night at the Bill, and we're going to help get you ready. Tim Fitzgerald, Zach Carlson, Ryan Gilbert. We will be your podcasting trio, at least for the near future. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll just kick someone off. Maybe I'll just say, no, it's about me and the other guy now. We're just going to do two. We're just going to look at each other, all the podcasts, and talk to each other and go, oh, you're really, really good looking. Anyhow.
You're going to kick yourself off the podcast?
Yes, okay. It'd be a great choice.
Me and Zach will have fun.
I love it. I love that.
The tribe has spoken.
I got voted off my own island. Make sure you are stopping at the fridge when you come into town Saturday. I say it every time, but it's so true. You've got your home booze, your home beer, your home liquor. Leave it there. You don't want to get home and you drank everything in the parking lot and you got nothing left. Go to the fridge when you get in town, stock that cooler up with the freshest booze right off the booze tree, whether it's the beer or if you need ice or you want something a little bit harder. Maybe you're really wild and you're going to have a seltzer. Wow. Make sure you buy it at the fridge. Stop into the fridge at the corner of Claflin and Westport. Did I get it right?
Correct.
Oh, man. I'm getting good at this after 10 years. And we appreciate the fridge being our sponsor for another year. I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe sales are so good we can't hurt them. I don't know. But we really appreciate Kevin and everyone. I love that place. It's not just that it's a sponsor. It's a freaking awesome store to go into. If they'd sell like TVs, it would be the greatest man store ever. Just go in there and get your 12-pack of probably Coors Light nowadays, and get yourself a 72-inch TV. Okay, let's move on with the podcast. So I wander into some areas that Zach doesn't appreciate. It's your questions from Wabash Station. You know the drill. If you're a subscriber, you get to ask the questions at GoPowerCat.com's Wabash Station, our VIP board. If you're not, you get to listen. That's the trade-off. We'd want you to subscribe. And also, before we start, we've got so much going on our YouTube channel. Make sure you go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing to this podcast. Make sure you get the notifications when these pop up. So turn on those notifications. We're doing more lives now. We plan on doing more lives, and we're going to have more YouTube productions. Of course, they will appear over at GoPowerCat.com. But the pregame podcast is going up on YouTube. We're going to do it video from now on. And we're reviving the Insiders podcast with a brand new cast, also on YouTube every Monday evening. We're going to record it in the afternoon. We talked about doing it live, but I just don't trust them. It's a cast, at least the frontliners are all K-Staters. Was that your stomach?
Yeah, it was.
That was impressive. It kind of sounded like a thunderstorm rolling in. I don't know what that was. It's myself, our Brian Hanley, our football analyst, Tim Everson, the sports editor at the Manhattan Mercury, and our friend Glenn Kinley, also a K-Stater from Channel 27 in Topeka.
Also, the other two channels.
It's
have all the
too
channels.
confusing. It's
43 and
he's just
49.
everywhere except
I don't know what
on the
channels
channel
they are.
I work.
Yeah.
But let's not talk about that.
Who's going to be Catfish?
What do you mean?
Ryan Black. Catfish.
Oh, I forgot about that. Man, I miss him. Oh, well, we'll talk less NASCAR, I guess. So
Probably a good thing.
make sure you go over to YouTube, look for the Go Power Cat channel, hit subscribe. It really helps us out. We're reaching more and more people, and that channel has grown like crazy because you folks love the videos and not the written word. We get it. We got it. And we like the podcast. Here we go.
First question comes from King Jim 77. Who are the true freshmen that we will see on the field on Saturday against SEMO?
I think there's going to be a lot. And you can look at the depth chart. I think there's 6 true freshmen on there. I don't think all those guys will see the field. There's just some guys that are kind of filling in on that depth chart.
As Bill Snyder would say, they have 2 eyes. They'll see the field.
Yeah, I love that line. But I think you'll see most of them on special teams. They have to. We haven't really talked about. When you talk special teams, you talk about the kicker, the punter, the return guy, maybe even the long snapper, but you don't talk about everyone else who makes things happen out there on returns. They've got to rebuild that group to a degree. That's why Seth Porter is one of the captains on this team, is because that's his area of expertise, and they are rebuilding those, and I think we're going to see a lot of true freshmen. We asked Chris Kleiman today, I did, about freshmen playing, and he's totally done a change of course on the red shirting. He doesn't care. If you can help us today, we'll worry about tomorrow later. But he did confess he doesn't even care about 2024. He doesn't even care. He's just all about this season. And then after that, he's just not caring anymore. Truth.
Yeah, it's because you asked that question.
I know.
If it was anybody else.
We spar.
Yeah.
He fell asleep during my question.
So you're not going to give any specific names?
I don't have
Oh, I pulled it up. Sorry.
Asa Newsom's
Yeah,
gonna play.
Asa Newsom. The way they talk about Asa Newsom, it's definitely Asa Newsom is number 1 that I would expect. If anybody's going to be out there first, I think it's going to be him. They talk about Jack Fabris a lot. He's on backs up VJ Payne. I think that K-State's going to be up significantly by the third quarter. I think that the fourth quarter, I think you are going to see a lot of true freshmen come out there because they're allowed to play 4 games. Why not get them some early reps in a game that you're going to win?
Not going to be the Lions' share.
No.
As Kleiman loves to say.
Not going to be the lion's share of situations. But, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I expect Avery Johnson to play. I will go out there and predict Avery Johnson makes his first appearance on Saturday.
He should.
He absolutely should. Jake Rubley should go out there too, but I think that Avery Johnson will play in the game, at least a series.
Maybe J.C. Brown at receiver. We'll see. Who are the other freshmen down here?
Is that how you pronounce it? Is it really JC or is it Jace?
I don't
Pretty
know.
sure it's Jace.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Yeah, I'd go with
Kleiman
Jace.
mentioned that, yeah.
I'll look it up later. I don't believe in pronouncing people's names correctly.
I think, yeah. When it's Shane Porter or Jace Brown, with all due respect to Shane, I think that if you're on the depth chart as a true freshman, you're probably, and there's an or next to your name, you're probably a lot higher than the team and Chris Kleiman want to actually admit. Case in point, Avery Johnson.
Might see Colby McAllister on the back end. We'll see.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we're going to see people that aren't on this depth chart because they will play on special teams quite a bit. They love this class. I keep going back to this, but a couple Fridays ago when we met with Joe Klanderman, the defensive coordinator, he said we have 8 to 10 true freshmen that are ready to play on the defensive side. He said it is our best recruiting class on one side of the ball since we've been here. And if you've got 8 to 10 freshmen that are equipped to play, yeah, that's pretty damn good. By anyone's standards, K-State, that's tremendous.
The staff likes what they're working with, but if you've been following along here at Go Power Cat, I think Wally and Cole have absolutely said that they would agree that this is a real good class, and they've been saying that for years when these guys were being recruited.
Yeah, I mean, Wally's been high on this group, and it just wasn't the Kansas kids, which are great. It's just across the board. They really like what they picked up.
From Ohio Power Cat, when was the last time K-State had the same starting quarterback for every game? Can Will Howard be the first to do it in a long time?
I did look this up.
Thank you.
2019, Skylar Thompson started all 13 games. Before that, 2016, Jesse Ertz started all 13 games. And then before that, Jake Waters started every game of his K-State career in 13 and 14. So those are your last 4 instances. So actually in the last 10 seasons.
That shocks me.
That's actually more. I'm surprised.
I think all 3 were injured playing.
Jake Waters, I don't know how his shoulder was still on his body.
No.
And he started every game.
No, I mean, that Oklahoma game in which he was injured, he broke that run right up the middle of the field, and you could kind of tell this is not going to end well. He just kind of had a bad feeling about it, but he played through it. He was good through it. But yeah, I think all 3 of them were banged up and injured, but still playing. Very impressive.
Jesse Ertz in 16 was probably the healthiest of the 3 quarterbacks at any time.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I sense that maybe the shot to the shoulder or whatever is less used now. Just a theory. Just those guys couldn't feel their shoulder during games, the ones that had injured shoulders. But if that happens, K-State's going to be really good. Keeping Will Howard healthy, even in light of the optimism about Avery Johnson and the growing experience of Jake Rubley, I mean, he's your dude. You want your dude on the field. And he is a monster. That is a big quarterback. That is unlike K-State has had in a very long time. I can't remember a quarterback with that type of stature, 6'5", 240, and not fat. I mean, he looks in really good shape. And he had a lovely haircut, didn't he? I mean,
From Sports Clips, yes.
Does he have an NIL from Sports Clips?
I don't think so.
He should. He should.
Probably loves the steam towel.
Curry Sexton, get on this.
But last year, Howard, it was, a series at TCU that he missed?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that long, but was it 2 years ago at Oklahoma State where he came out of that game too? So he's not out of the woods. He's obviously, more healthy than Martinez and Skylar were in the past, but there still is a risk here for Howard to not play every game, to start every game, I guess.
Again, when he got hurt at TCU, that was another running play. I mean, I don't know if it was planned. I can't remember. Should have been a penalty. I mean, the TCU guy put his arms out to put all his weight down on him, which is supposed to be illegal. It was kind of dirty. But
if it was Tom Brady, it'd be a penalty.
It'd have been a death penalty. They would have just executed that player at midfield. Don't mess with Tom Brady. Okay, I never thought I'd say that on a podcast. But that happens a lot.
Who replaced Will Howard at Oklahoma State? I can't think of it. Was it Skylar? Did he come in?
No, it was Jaron Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis.
Because he had the little
Jaron Lewis
flip pass to Deuce for a touchdown. Like he was getting sacked, he just flipped it out there. It was a great play.
All I could think about was Cody Cook in 2015 coming in for Joe Huebner. Had the wrong year in the wrong game, but same place.
Well, I don't know. Let's see, what receiver would we not? I bet you Seth Porter could play a little quarterback. If you really needed. He could certainly run the option, I bet.
How many guys do you think played quarterback
No doubt.
in high school?
That's a great question.
There's probably a dozen guys on the team that played quarterback and are perfectly capable of doing it if needed, but you really would rather them not, but...
Yep. Speaking of perfectly capable, of doing it if needed, back to Ryan Gilbert.
From KSU Man.
Well, I just kicked him.
Who are you most excited to see on Saturday?
Uso, and he's not going to play. I bet he doesn't play. I was fired up to see Uso. Des Purnell. I mean, I wasn't until today. We're recording on Tuesday, of course. Chris Kleiman raved about him, that the amount of progress he's made. Keep in mind, this was a guy that they moved Khalid Duke to the linebacker because they didn't think Des Purnell was ready, and then he proved to be ready. He's bigger. he looks like a linebacker now. He looked like a safety playing up to linebacker. He looks like a linebacker now. And they say his leadership's gone off the charts, and his, understanding what they're doing is much higher. I'm kind of fired up for him. He's going to, cruise in the shadow a little bit of Austin Moore and Daniel Green, who probably will also be limited on Saturday because of an injury. They're going to play whoever needs to play, but as soon as they get away from them, those injured guys are coming off the field.
Kleiman said that Purnell's the undisputed Sam backer. I mean, he obviously hyped up the guys behind him, but yeah, he had really good things to say about him today.
I agree. I'm fired up.
Of all the recruits we went to go see in high school in 2021, I don't think Desmond Purnell would have been the one we expected to be the most successful at this point.
Yep, I agree. 100%.
It's crazy to think about. But for me,
again, Wally was
he was all over
he sent us there, and he knew.
I think even then, Wally was just like, could be good. Could we don't know. You never know.
You never know.
But he got that one right. Probably for me, it's Trayshawn Ward. This is the first time since Chris Kleiman's first season without Deuce Vaughn. So the running back game is going to be completely different than what we've seen. I'm excited about Trayshawn Ward coming in. It'll be interesting to see how they split the load between DJ Giddens and Trayshawn Ward. I'm interested to see what they do, because when in 2019 it was James Gilbert was your starting running back. He'd play the first series, then you'd have Jordan Brown play the second series, and then you'd have Harry Trotter play the third series.
And so I think we'll see more of that.
Like I'm curious if it's just DJ and Trayshawn, and if they swap back and forth every other series, is there a third back that is there that they really like?
They have brought up Anthony Frias a couple times now.
So I'm curious how it's going to look, and if it's going to look anything like 2019 did.
Yeah.
And Kleiman just mentioned how he's going to let BA just kind of go with the flow of the game. I don't know if there is really a set plan for how those guys are going to get their workloads. I'm sure there's something there, but letting the game kind of dictate itself and how those guys are playing is going to affect how they get their carries.
I just want to point this out. I love how Chris Kleiman coaches. We ask him about the quarterback rotation. He goes, I don't know. CK will figure that out. I mean, we'll talk about it, but that's his choice. He mentions Brian Anderson, just put the running backs in that you think should be in there. I know he lets Connor Riley do his thing. And maybe that's because it's the offense. Maybe he's more involved in the defense, but he empowers his coaches to coach and to decide who belongs on the field. And I think that's why he has not as much overturn on his coaching staff typically, because they feel like they're involved in everything.
He's got a lot of trust.
Yeah, and he's not a tyrant boss.
It's like you. Do we have our work done? Yes. All right. Good enough.
Okay. There we go.
Let's
Here's
play.
a beer. Yeah.
There's only been one time where I forgot to do an article.
Did you get in trouble?
I got a phone call from you, yeah.
Yeah. Take care of your shit.
Yep. Naughty boy.
That's my one rule of my employees. Just take care of your shit. Oh, I'm going to start cussing on the podcast, I guess.
Back to the question, though. I'll say Keegan Johnson. I don't think he has to have a tremendous game, but if he doesn't show some flashes, I think that wide receiver group might be in some trouble this season. So I'm excited to just see what he can do. I think we know what Phillip Brooks can do. We know RJ Garcia. We've heard the potential on him. There's just a lot of unknowns with Johnson, so I'm most excited to see him.
I guess I'd add in Will Lee and Marcus Siegel, also the two transfers on the back end of the defense. They've said really good things about Will Lee as someone. What's his measurements here? Let me find it. Will Lee is 6'3", 185. I mean, that's pretty rangy. So he's also a sophomore. If he takes the same growth arc as Julius Brents, which means as a sophomore he's going to be okay, have flashes, and as a senior he'll be all Big 12 caliber, I'll take it. Absolutely take it.
Last question of the first half is from Fim Tisgerald.
Man, you missed such an opportunity.
He missed a T in
I
there.
know.
Yep,
It was a perfect
he really
name.
did.
Yeah.
What position? What was it? Sorry.
It'd be
I
fun
wonder
to
if
say.
does 24/7
No.
block out that name? No.
No, we have a guy named John Queefald.
Well, which is a brilliant name. I'm just like, look, you had it right in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, Or go with me on this, Gilbert. His name is actually Fim.
Could be.
It should be Fitzgerald. Go ahead with the question.
What position group or individual on both sides of the ball will you be watching closest on Saturday?
Kind of answered that.
Yeah.
Just running back.
Yeah, I think, yeah. But I said this on the walk and talk on Tuesday. I'm really focused on the defense. It's not like I'm going to be ignoring the offense. But I just kind of want to see how this defense all snaps together. Felix is gone. They've just got some, guys on the back end of the defense who are gone that were so important. And these guys were the emotional heart and soul in many ways. I think they're going to be really good on defense, but now I want to see it. I want to see what they do against SEMO. If they can't dominate defensively against an FCS team, all respect to SEMO, really good football team, well coached. They will give K-State some issues, but you should physically be able to handle them.
I'm probably most interested in Khalid Duke, well, at least on the defensive side of the ball, just seeing him back at defensive end, seeing how he plays. It's probably the most interesting storyline to me, I guess, at least on the defensive side. But yeah, offensive side of the ball is definitely running back for me.
That's what I was just going to say. Operating an offense without Deuce Vaughn, how much of a difference is that going to make? How different will it look?
Yep, I agree. Will it free up Colin Klein, or would it handcuff him because he doesn't have his fallback, which was give the ball to Deuce? We'll see. Another thing I'm going to be looking at, and I kind of joke about it, but I'm also kind of serious. I'll be looking at the safeties and corners for SEMO. Any young player that looks really good, well, welcome to the Bill. You want to play here more often? Because Chris Kleiman's done a great job with FCS players coming up to this level, recognizing who could play at the Big 12 level, and they've done a great job.
I'm not going to be watching Chris Tennant closely or anything, but hoping that he can get off on the right foot, no pun intended, and
that was good, though.
Get a few kicks through the uprights. Seriously, he needs to get his confidence up. And
drive the ball, kid.
Yep, sure.
Drive the ball. That's it for the first half of the PowerCat Questions Podcast, your weekly venture into K-State sports. Man, I can't talk. Is it important to be able to talk on a podcast?
No.
Okay. We'll be back after this. I'm going to use hand signals the rest of the podcast.
GoPowerCat.com's PowerCat podcast continues after this short break.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
Welcome back to the PowerCat podcast.
Welcome back to the PowerCat Questions Podcast from GoPowerCat.com, and we're sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. Make sure you head to the fridge before you tailgate. Get all your booze right there at the fridge. It'll be so fresh. All the friends at your tailgate will be going, "Hey, Don, why is your whiskey so fresh?" And you'll say, "I bought it at the fridge just before we popped it open. It's brand new booze." The fridge right around the corner from the stadium. You can't really miss it if you're on the right road. I have no idea what that means. I have no clue what that means.
Hey, remember Blockbuster? Well, yeah, go there.
Yeah,
that's the read.
Speaking of the 80s, I really did enjoy Cocaine Bear, which reminded me of a 1980s comedy. It was delightful.
Where'd you watch it? What's it on?
It's
now?
free on Amazon right now.
Free?
It's worth every penny.
I believe it.
It really is. It's about a bear on cocaine. That's why they named it. That sounded like Norm Macdonald. Here we go with more of your questions from Wabash Station with Ryan Gilbert.
First question of the second half is from Natty Cat. 100 degrees Saturday. Can we all just give a big thank you to K-State Athletics for allowing re-entry and end this discussion?
No.
I don't get what you're asking here. I'm sorry.
What are you going to go like?
They have water inside the stadium,
and they have more shade probably than the parking lot.
You're going to dehydrate yourself in the parking lot with alcohol.
What? No. Hey, Zach, let's design an alcohol with vitamins and minerals in it so people feel like it's healthy. Like a supplement with booze. Anyhow.
Just sounds like an energy drink almost.
Why did we pick this question? We're going to have to close this thing up and start selling beer here pretty soon. I'm sorry.
Well, I picked it because it's going to be hot. I picked the question because it is going to be hot on Saturday. I'm surprised that there hasn't been anything. There's really been no real talk about moving the time back. You'd think that if they were going to do it, they would have done it by now. So
just to 7.
7 or 7:30. It doesn't need to be 8 or 8:30, even though that'd be even better. But it's going to be extremely hot at kickoff. The projection has come down. The forecast has come down
99.
a couple degrees. I think it was at 103 the other day. So maybe it'll cool off, but it's not like it's that much of a difference either. But
so if you think it's lousy weather, the low on Saturday is supposed to be 69. Nice.
Yeah. But
they can't push the game back because the powers that be want the Pac-12 have all eyes on them.
No, that's it. I had no idea.
For a game that's being streamed, it's pretty easy to accommodate the fans a little bit and push it back to where maybe it's dark. But
if this was a 2:30 kick, I think there's a real chance it would be moved.
If this was a 2:30 kick, I would be clamoring for Zach Carlson's Wear the Whites at home. Wear the white uniform tops at least.
They should do. I mean, it's going to be hot against Troy, too.
I know.
Wear the white tops, but...
Nope, I was told nope, that ain't happening.
Well, so much for our idea.
Oh, we have great ideas.
But I feel like I don't think that re-entry is going to matter this game. If you go in there and you're hot, K-State's going to be up, 3 touchdowns, hopefully, by the time you're like, you know what? It's pretty hot. I think I'm going to go out to the parking lot and get a beer, and you're going to be like... You're going to pull it up on ESPN Plus on your phone, and you're just be like, I'm going to hang out here for a little bit, and then you're going to go home. I
would be interested to see how many people actually leave and re-enter, particularly if it's like a 3-touchdown lead at halftime.
I think...
I wonder if they can... I bet surely they can tell you how many rescanned to come back in. I don't know.
I mean, they have the number for sure, but I just don't think it's... If you were leaving the stadium on Saturday, you are most likely not returning.
Yeah, if you go,
and that's fine. I'm not going to this is not one of those situations where you're like, well, why didn't the fans come back? The students, they left early because it was, and it was a close game. They needed them to help. No, it's a FCS opponent. It's 100 degrees. All bets are off. You can enjoy the game how you please, and if that means leaving in the second quarter because K-State's up 28-0 and it's 105 degrees, go take care of yourself.
I'm a few years removed from college. I don't know if you guys know that. Yeah, I'm youthful. But if I'm a student and they're up 3 touchdowns at halftime, I can get home, shower, and be in Aggieville by 9. I can listen to the rest of the game while I'm getting ready, and then I can be in Aggieville by 9. But your generation doesn't do that. Actually, it's a younger generation.
You're looking at me? Huh?
Yeah. Actually, you're kind of old now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could be in Yard Bar ready to go. Ready to go. Beat the rush.
So you were saying that someone should leave the student section, go home,
Yeah.
take a shower.
Yep.
Get real nice and clean.
Absolutely.
Soap, shampoo, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
And then you're telling them to go sit outside at Yard Bar where it's still hot.
I'm not a life coach. I want to
make sure.
Yeah, I'm encouraging fans to leave the game early. Oh, crap. What am I doing?
I just want to make sure we're clear that...
Only if they're leading. Only if they're up big. That's your only excuse. If they're up a touchdown at halftime and you don't come back in, Well, I'm going to be at Yard Bar at 9 o'clock to call you out.
I'm more upset about the shower between outside, shower, outside.
You
This
gotta
is
do
something
the-
Cole would do, though.
You got to do the refresh. You need to do that. You don't need to take.
But then you're
your
going to
game-
shower again after.
This is, folks. I'm sorry.
Too many new towels.
You feel like this might be like an unnecessary sidetrack of this podcast. I think this is the most essential topic we're talking about. You need the refresh. You don't need the game stink on you in Aggieville. I mean, what if you meet the one and she goes, "Ooh, you smell like popcorn and bad decisions." Actually, that might make you kind of sexy.
So you're supposed
You
to
could
get a
probably
hotel
smell that
room
at a bar.
at the Courtyard in Aggieville so you can shower and use their towels without having to wash them. Right, Zach?
Okay.
Random. All right.
Or get down there, just meet someone who's got a room and go use their shower. Let's move on now. Let's.
You sure you want to be done with this?
Yes,
All right, let me pull up this question.
I think we should be probably done. I think I went over the edge.
From Jay Boland, PSU.
Oh, it stands for Pewee State University. Pewee.
What is one bold prediction from each of you for the season? It can be about K-State or just college football overall.
K-State football will be so incredible. Russia will surrender in Ukraine. You wanted a bold one? I went with it. I just rolled with it. That Avery Johnson will not redshirt and will become an essential part of this offense by becoming the Wildcat quarterback.
Copy and paste.
Furthermore,
What the hell was that?
Daphne is having a dream. She's dreaming about Avery Johnson at quarterback. Will Howard will have more than one reception this season.
So 2. 2 plus is your 2 plus.
Boldly saying 2+.
I'm not copying and pasting that, but I think that Avery Johnson's red shirt, there is no such thing as a red shirt for Avery Johnson. I truly think right now how non-committal Chris Kleiman was at the backup quarterback position. He's just like, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We got Will Howard one. Don't worry about the backups. It's essentially kind of what his mantra is right now. I think if Will Howard's helmet comes off and he has to come off the field for a play, I think Avery Johnson is going in.
I thought it'd be you.
No. I think Avery Johnson is
I don't have a helmet to fit you.
too
I
big.
agree. I agree. I've done a 180 on that. I thought Jake Rubley would be the helmet off kind of guy, but everything we're hearing, despite the or on the depth chart, Avery Johnson's the backup from what we're hearing. He is the backup quarterback. Incredible. And great hair. Just not right. It's not fair.
Better than Will Howard's cut, though?
Will Howard's cut was
He's
fresh.
Fresh.
It was sporty.
Clippy.
Sporty clippy.
Gills?
No.
You have one?
Are you participating?
You guys, I mean, that's what I was going to say, too. I don't really have a whole bold take or a hot take.
Why you do too?
I really don't. Avery Johnson, it's got to be something around Avery Johnson.
Can we make a bold bowl prediction? We haven't been asked what bowl game we think K-State's going to. Might as well ask it now. What bowl game do you predict?
Cotton. Because the Sugar Bowl's part of the playoff.
Bold move. Fits in.
So the Cotton becomes the de facto Big 12 champion bowl.
So you think K-State wins or loses the Big 12 championship game and goes to the Cotton Bowl?
I think they win it, and
Texas goes to the playoff?
yeah, then there's a bold prediction. I think K-State's going to have a great season and get screwed out of the playoff. I really do. I think they'll be playoff worthy and not get in.
I would say
Everyone's so
the question says college football in general, so that could be true for any Big 12 school. I can see that happening, sure.
I love all the predictions out there. I mean, there's been so many predictions. The playoff's going to be Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan. Like, shut up, man.
If that's the case, we should just ditch the regular season. Have those four
just let them play.
There's a reason you play the games.
And the people who get wild and crazy put in USC, which another blue
the
blood.
Heisman front runner.
Yeah,
it's going to lead this team to
I
the
saw
playoff.
one with
But I would
Tennessee.
prefer that over
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of rooting for Florida State or Clemson or, K-State or anyone but Texas to roar to life and get in that playoff. The more upheaval we can cause like TCU did last year. Yeah, everyone wants to talk about getting their ass kicked by Georgia, and they did. They played awful. But they beat Michigan on the way to there. They didn't just like get chosen to play for a national championship and lose. They won a game to get to that game. And nobody talks about that. That one of the blue bloods that they think so special lost to the Frogs.
It was a good game, too.
It was.
And who's to say that Michigan wouldn't have lost by 55 points to
Well,
Georgia?
Georgia was incredible that day. They just were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question from Claws Out, Balls Out. Does K-State need to run up scores and stuff the starters' stats to change national perceptions of K-State being old, boring football with a bunch of tryhards?
You know, I catch myself in this of the Bill Snyder thinking. I mean, I covered the guy for his entire career. And he went from running the score up, not intentionally. They were just so good. They're hanging 60 on people, to making sure he keeps it suppressed. He kind of got to be really nice at the end. The players talked about, Will Howard said, Colin Klein's goal is to score 50 in every game. That, by the context of the new rule changes where the first down clock, the clock keeps running on first downs except in the last 2 minutes of the game or the half. Game or half? There's going to be fewer plays. So 50 is a lot of points. And that tells me they're going for it. They have that understanding that style points count if you're Kansas State. Alabama can have an average margin of victory of 2 and have a loss, and they're in the playoff. Kansas State has a loss, probably not in the playoff, but if you win by an average score of like 3 touchdowns, maybe they can't deny you.
Yeah. I think you've got to score as many points as you can. You cannot let your foot off the gas if you're K-State.
But doesn't that kind of go against putting in Avery Johnson at this point in his career?
Well, I don't
in the fourth quarter?
I don't
think he's going to put him in to just.
Yeah, they're not putting him into with a mop. They're putting him in to go get some points.
I really think that will be the difference. I think, honestly, if they want to handle the ball off or in the clock, Jake Rubley will come in. And I'm not meaning that as an insult. I'm just saying that'll be the sign to me they're calling off the dogs. The pass play at TCU was so troubling. I think it's hard to get past it. It's hard to get past that. So I think they'll let Avery do his thing if he's in the game. Why put him in the game? I mean, seriously, never put him in to mop up, because as the season plays out, he might end up only playing 4 games. And then you did preserve the red shirt. Don't just put him in to mop up, unless you're planning on using him regularly as an element of the offense. Yeah. Score points. Win big. Go Cats. How was that? That's good podcasting right there.
Last question from Power Cat Ryan. If you compare Chris Kleiman's tenure to Snyder 1.0, I know the starting points are not the same.
Nope.
What Snyder 1.0 seasons compares to 2023? Could this be the 1997 season and the start of a ridiculous 4-season stretch?
That's really good.
I think this is a question for Timothy.
Well, let's put it this way.
What year were you born in?
99.
Maybe with the 93 team, that kind of started the bowl run. 94 wasn't quite as good. They went to the Aloha Bowl and lost. And that kind of felt like the pandemic season. And now they've started to step it up. So 94, 95 is pretty good. 96. Yeah. It really could be like the 97 team that was really good. Is that what
That's what he said.
was?
That's what he said.
It really could be. It kind of sequences up perfectly for that, which means they're going to contend for a national title next year, which is cool. That's cool with me. I don't know. You guys upset by that? I don't know. I think we'll take that. No, that 97 team was really good. They just had to come from a deficit of respect. I feel like this K-State team's starting with more respect. They're picked for second.
Yeah.
They were. We want to play up the underdog thing here, but they were picked for second. And probably rightfully so. Texas is loaded with talent and whatever. I didn't vote him second, but I see why others did. So, yeah, I think 97's a good comparison. That was a great team. My God, what they did to Syracuse in that bowl game was fantastic. The Fiesta Bowl, by the way, folks. Yes, Kansas State has won a Fiesta Bowl for all of you who claim they haven't won a significant bowl game.
They've won a Cotton Bowl, too.
Yeah, but then, I mean, that was the equivalent
that was against the SEC. That wasn't against Syracuse or anybody, you know?
No, they had Donovan McNabb. Everyone's talking about Donovan McNabb, and then Michael just schooled him. Absolutely routed him. Love it.
And
we'll
then
take that.
Tom Brady happened to Michael Bishop.
Oh, man.
A lot of Tom Brady.
What a circle there.
Huh?
We are.
Let's not oversimplify, or let's not overcomplicate this. Excuse me. We talked about Avery Johnson, right? We've talked about the entire, class that he's a part of and how good they are. So with this question, starting a ridiculous 4-season stretch, it goes without saying that the pieces are there. The potential is there.
Mm-hmm. I'm really encouraged by the number of young guys they want to play because they got to get them ready. And that was my question with Chris Kleiman. Do you think about that? And he said, no, I don't care about 24. It's so funny. I don't care about 24. And I know what he's meaning. He's solely focused on this game on Saturday and what's going to take place this season. But, as a coach, he's thinking, well, okay, we got to get guys ready. We can't just have – but that's how they play players. It's not like they're going to go out of their way to play guys. That's how they always play guys. They always rotate in. I remember looking out on the field in the past few seasons, and it's a key play, key series, particularly on defense, and there's a freshman running around. And I'm like, what is he doing on the field? They just empower their players. Again, they have the trust in them to go take care of it. We're not just going to put you in a mop-up time when it's boring. We're going to put you into key situations. And I think that really makes the team more engaged in practice because more guys are going to see the field. How hard is it to be a backup if you're not – a number 2, you're not going to see the field unless someone gets injured. But not at K-State. People play. People get on the field. So I think it's going to benefit them for next year.
I think this season – it's hard to compare it to any past K-State season, regardless of Snyder 1.0, 2.0. I just think coming off of the Big 12 championship with exactly what K-State has, I don't want to say it's like the 2003 one where they're going to just flop like in 2004 and 2005 and, the end of the era there. But this coming off of this Big 12 championship, it feels different from the other two. I don't know how to describe it, but I think just the expectation being so high of success. I mean, I didn't feel this way in 2004. I wouldn't have probably guessed, I wouldn't have felt like this in 2013 either. I think that this is the highest K-State has ever been coming off a Big 12 title, and I don't think it's necessarily comparable to any season in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think this is, when it's all said and done, after this 4 years, I don't know if it'll be comparable to anything. You may look at this era of K-State football as, wow, we had this, and this was better than what we considered the greatest era of K-State football ever. It's a high bar that I just set, but I think this is the beginning of something good.
I do too.
Getting into a 12-team playoff, it doesn't change the record that you had on the season, but the way you think of it. Oh, yeah. K-State got into a playoff.
Absolutely. When a national sports writer talks, why they're all going to lose, shut up. I mean, we talk about like George Mason getting into the NCAA tournament, making it to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four. That was redefining not of athletics at George Mason, of the institution as a whole.
Butler doing it twice.
Right.
Making the national championship game back-to-back.
Here is the thing that the Pac-12 leadership never understood. There's nothing you can do, and I know this is crazy for the Cals and Stanfords to hear this, considering the type of students they get. But for most schools, there's nothing you can do more advantageous to your enrollment and the culture of your campus than contend for a national title, to be in, whatever playoff and be a significant player. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm fired up to hear K-State's new enrollment numbers because I'm hearing it's way up in a time when enrollment's dropping nationwide, because this looks like the place to be. And between Jerome Tang and Chris Kleiman, by God, it's the place to be. So There's absolutely nothing you can do to welcome in more students, more people to your campus than have a great front porch called Successful Athletics.
Thank you for listening to the PowerCat Podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to our show at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's the UEFA Champions League on Paramount Plus. Europe's top club soccer tournament. Champions versus champions. The best teams facing off in the knockout rounds. Magnificent! And it all takes place
while you're filling out financial reports at work, in the middle of your day, in the middle of your week. So use that second screen, call in sick, do whatever you got to do to tune in Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Nobody watches the UEFA Champions League like us. Knockout rounds begin February 13th on CBS and stream live on Paramount Plus.
Ready?
Go. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is coming to Paramount Plus.
Hang on!
It's off the charts spectacular.
Go, go, go!
Tom Cruise has outdone himself.
The world's coming after you. Stay out of my way.
Prepare for one of the best action movies ever made.
This is getting exciting.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Streaming January 25th on Paramount Plus. Rated PG-13. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13.